experience so far? Thumbs up? We got to do thumbs up because we can't record everything. Good. You guys getting some good golden nuggets that you can take back? That's awesome. Okay, today we're talking about Maximo mastery. However, I'm just going to warn you right now, it's not all about Maximo. I know this is Maximo world, but if you're here for Tri-Riga, you will learn the same stuff. It will help you. Also, any other system that you do. If you're IT and you're supporting multiple systems and you have to do a lot of data input, great. This will all help you. So these are proven strategies. Just a little bit about me. I worked for Sonoma Water for 21 and a half years. I have worked for SMART, which is a train service, for the last 4.5. I've talked at some Maximo users groups. I was a presenter here in 2019. The rest of it is not that important. I work for SMART now, and you can see up there that this is what our train looks like. This is the inside. It's a very new system. We've been up and running for 6.5, almost 7 years. So all of our trains are beautiful. We have track from Larkspur up to Sonoma County Airport in the Bay Area, San Francisco, North Bay. And we have 12 stations. We've got 2 new ones going in, one in Petaluma and one in Windsor. So those should be finished, we're hoping, by end of year, but it might be the beginning of next year. We only have, and I say only because there's a lot bigger train systems like Amtrak. We only have 9 2-car train sets, so there's 18 cars that we maintain. So we're little guys. We don't have a huge Maximo system like some of the companies out there. How many of you guys have 100 or less users for Maximo? Okay, all right, we have 100 or less. How many of you guys have 1,000 or less? Okay, that's a better. Who has over 1,000 users? Oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's a lot of users, isn't it? A lot of people to maintain. Probably you're getting a lot of complaints also. So part of this presentation is going to be how do we handle those. Basic overview. We're going to talk about unlocking potential of Maximo, harnessing the power of the users, exploring just practical tips, spotlighting Maximo. Whoops, I'm going backwards. I already have dry mouth. Has anybody done presentations and gotten cotton mouth in yeah, that's me. We're going to talk about going beyond implementation and discovering how to discover secrets, and also just to spotlight Maximo or any system that you have. Who's tired of the technical end of things? I mean, with me, after about 2-3 hours, 2-3 sessions, all the technical stuff gets to be brain frying. They were smart to put me at the end of the day. I'm not doing anything technical, so you guys can relax. Just enjoy. Whoops, wrong way. Oh boy. Is this doing? This is not doing. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, well. Huh? It's tired for the day, isn't it? Okay, do we have anybody? Okay, well, it's not going to happen. So, Kat just left. I'm gonna get my slides the old-fashioned way, I guess. How come it's not going next? All right. PowerPoint is not responding. We're having fun today. Let me get my backup plan. I am so glad it's not working for some reason. Give me just a half a second. At least I can talk to what I was going to talk about. Here's Here's a smart thing that you want to do, and I work for SMART, so I can say this. Always have a backup plan. So guess what I did? And I'm glad I did, because now I can at least talk to you guys while he's taking care of the hard stuff. Okay, so I have 26 years of experience. I'm sure that a lot of you guys have not gotten 26, that's not mine. I'm sure you guys probably don't have 26 years of experience, maybe a few of you. How many of you guys have got, we've got some 26ers, this is awesome. How many of you guys have had Maximo 1 year or less? Okay, we got a couple of those. How many of you have had Maximo 5 years or less? Okay. How many of you guys, is it working?
Yes, we did. On the computer.
Awesome. How many of you guys have had it 10 or worked with it 10 years or less? Okay. And 15? Okay, I should be going the other way. I should be saying more than 10, more than 15, right? Okay, and 20? 20, awesome. So I've got a wide group of people in here, and I like that because I want to pull from your guys' experience. And just because you've only had Maximo for a year or less doesn't mean you haven't gotten some good experience already. So we're going to go ahead and move on with our overview, unlocking the potential. Okay, so challenges. How many of you guys have people with salty attitudes where you work? You like that? Salty attitudes are sometimes really hard to work with, aren't they? It's hard. And we're going to talk about how to work with those salty attitudes, because I've had a few of those. I mean, some of the people that I worked with were over 70 years old. And did they like Maximo? Why? Because they didn't like technology. So it wasn't the system. It was just the fact that they didn't want to record their stuff. How many of you guys have worked with training deficiencies? Or feel like your company needs a little more training? The guys out in the field need more training. Yeah, I'm getting a whole bunch of hands coming up. So you guys can relate to some of these issues that I've worked with over the years. Communication gaps. Where do you think those communication gaps come from? Does anybody have a good idea? I'm seeing everywhere. Okay, everywhere was the thing. Okay, and if you guys do 1 or 2 word answers, I can repeat it and then it's been recorded. So we're going to try to do that because I like to ask a lot of questions. So communication gaps. One of the things that as an IT person, we have our own language, right? Maximo has its own language. The mechanic out in the field has their own language, right? And sometimes everybody uses the same word differently. English, it's the fault of English, isn't it? That's where communication gaps come in, is just the fact that I'm saying one word and somebody else is hearing the same word, but the understanding is completely different, and you'll lose them, and you get these deer in the headlight looks. Have you ever seen those when you've been talking to people? Little, what the heck are you talking about? That is a communication gap. And all you have to do is either start asking questions of them or do a little bit of explaining, like, Lucy, you got some splaining to do, right? We're going to gain some insights from all this time that I've been having lots of fun trying to develop Maximo in the water district and also for the train. But the things that I've learned, again, are across the board. So optimizing processes, increasing efficiency, and leveraging Maximo. We're just going to kind of skip forward because we had some technical difficulties. Golden nuggets. Here is one of the most important things that you guys can do while you're here and anytime you go to any Maximo users group or any other kind of user group. Find your golden nuggets, okay? Don't try to do everything that you've learned, because if you try to do everything, you're going to be overwhelmed. Pick out 3 good golden nuggets and say, I'm going to go home with these 3 golden nuggets. And the reason why you want 3 is because you want to take those golden nuggets back to your company and you want to start selling them and talking about them and getting people excited about them. Any golden nuggets that you can just kind of throw out there for me that you've picked up so far? Not here in my class, but somewhere today, yesterday? Mobility? Yes. Data quality. So data quality is a very important golden nugget, isn't it? You need to kind of scrub your stuff and make sure it's good. If it's not good, nobody's going to care about the system. So it needs to be consistent. What are some of the best ways to get data quality is to require fields and make sure that you have the domains and things like that, right? So that's a great golden nugget. When you go back with your 3 golden nuggets, you then talk about them with people, you talk to all the stakeholders, and guess what? Then you prioritize. They have a choice. That's why you take back 3, because you want them to at least choose one of these golden nuggets so that you can focus in on it and try to accomplish it. If it's a small small project, you might be able to hit 2 or 3 of them, but if they're huge projects, like this year, we're going to go to mobility. We haven't done mobility for inventory. That's my goal for the next 8 months. Why 8 months? Because I'm retiring. I'm so excited. So my final project is going to be mobility. And if we can get mobility in, that's a huge project. But if we can get mobility on, I'm going to be so happy when I leave. I'm just going to feel like, hey, I did something good for them, right? So that's the type of thing you want to do, is you want to pick out 3. We already had that one picked out, so I'm not taking that back from this thing. But the one thing I did was I went to some classes to learn more about it. So that's the type of stuff that you want to do. Let's move on. Give me a second. Cotton mouth. Okay. I actually like having it right here because this is back too far. I don't like being back behind the podium. I don't know why. Anyway, so harnessing the power of user feedback, streamlining processes and cut costs. So salty attitudes, right? What's usually happening? They're complaining, right? I don't like the way this works. I don't like that. I have to do this. It takes too long to do that. So what do you do with that? I create a ticket for IT. I'm in IT. So I create a ticket and I say either streamline this process or create a domain. Do you guys know what domains are? The pick lists, the Maximo. Create a domain to make it more easy for them to put it in consistently, right? So always take those criticisms and do your best to make it right. And what's the number one reason why you would want to do that? Buy-in. Buy-in, perfect. Absolutely, because now you have fixed the issue that they have been having, and usually if you get one complainer, there's a whole lot of them that have experienced it, and they're just a little nicer. They're not as open. But let me tell you, you actually want all that feedback. You want them to say something. You want them to come to you when they can think of something that will make that process better. I have been blessed at SMART because I get a lot of feedback. It's a new system to them. I mean, SMART in and of itself is only, 7 years old? Well, okay, technically it's older because they were putting the trains and tracks in and everything, but it's only been in service for the last 7 years. That's a pretty darn new system, in my opinion, and there's a lot of things to work out. One of the greatest projects I feel like I did was I improved the process from the operator's log to work order tracking. When an operator, dispatch gets an issue on one of the DMUs, it absolutely has to be addressed by vehicle maintenance ASAP. So what happens is they create this service request that automatically goes into work order tracking, and in operator log, there's a lot of things that aren't in there that are in work order tracking, but the dispatch knows what they are. Train number, all these other things. So we added fields so that they could just fill those fields out. All that stuff tracks all the way over into work order tracking. Now the people in the field don't have to get their call and say, hey, we need this done. They don't have to go back and put all that information in. Now they have a work order waiting for them. So I've saved a whole lot of time by creating a process because of a complaint, because they didn't have all of the things that they needed in dispatch to get that information to the guys in the field. So it's pretty nice when you can feel like, hey, I have reduced the time, right? So what are the three big things that we're supposed to think about? Time, money, and resources, or reliability. If you're reliability web, that would be the R. But when you think about that, when you reduce how much time it takes for somebody to do their job and to translate that information and make it so that all the guy out in the field has to do is put in his time at the end of the day and maybe the failure code, you have now saved time, and time is money. And resources, they don't have to spend more time, the guys in the field don't have to spend more time behind the computer. They can just go straight to what's important, and that is recording how much time they fixed it and that it was fixed, right? So those are the types of things that you do with feedback and streamlining processes and cutting costs. It's amazing how much you can save when you do a streamlining of process. It's amazing how fast time goes by when you're up here talking. Okay, so involving the stakeholders, I do want to touch on this. Who are the stakeholders? If you're talking about, we'll just talk about the same example. We're talking about that process that we just did, right? Who are those stakeholders? You got dispatch, you've got the supervisors in dispatch, right? You've got the guys out in the field. You've got a lot of things going on there. You've got the supervisors of the guys out in the field. You've got probably finance, because they want to make sure that things are being tracked correctly, right? So you've got a lot of stakeholders that you need to talk to streamline it. Every time I talk to a new stakeholder, guess what? I either found an additional thing that should be added to the process, or something that maybe shouldn't be done the way that was suggested, a slightly different way, a little more better way, I guess, mobile, you like that? A better way. So you do need to talk to all of the stakeholders, because it does make a difference, because then you don't have to do it twice. It's like, measure twice, cut once, right? That's the saying. Same idea. You ask a lot of questions. What kind of questions do you ask? Do you say, hey, how was your day? No. You ask them very specific questions. What information do you need? How do you need to show it up? How do you need it to show up? Is there a finite number of items so that you can see if you can put in a domain, or is there a lot of different things that you need to, is this a free writing kind of spot, or is it something else? So that's the kind of stuff that you want to do, is you want to ask very specific questions, because if you're not asking specific questions, you're going to have a lot of things that you're missing by the time you're done doing something that's an improvement to the process, but it's not going to be as good as it could have been if you'd asked all the right questions. So don't forget to ask questions. Is there anything else that you need to add? So when you do that, also, you're talking to your upper management. Guess what? Now they've got some buy-in on the whole process, right? And they've been able to approve it. It's not something that came and happened, and they're going, what the heck? You changed the whole thing. Wait, we needed to have training on this. So it's little things like that that you don't want to pass by. Networking and knowledge sharing is another thing that is important. Maximo World is all about networking, correct? Have you guys met somebody that's doing something that you're doing that's a little ahead of you, that had some good ideas, that's going to help you? I'm seeing some nodding of heads. That's what Maximo World's all about, right? Networking, but also networking when you're talking about at work, you need to network there also. What do you think you would network for, or why do you think you would network at work? Who would you network with? We just talked about it all. End users. Stakeholders, exactly. So anybody up or down the chain or wide. It could be different departments. Because when we were talking information for the vehicle maintenance for the trains, that was only one part of the process. I also ended up doing the same type of process for the people that are track and signals, because they're the ones on the ground. They're where the trains run. They get issues also. Many a times, something happens with the signals, and you got to run and take care of it. And it's an absolute will be a work order kind of situation. So everything that comes from dispatch goes straight into a work order, which is awesome, because now they don't have to do all the extra adding in. Let's keep going, because we're. Woohoo. What time do I have till? Okay, perfect. Okay, communication and feedback. All right. Who uses email listener? Awesome. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody else? Has anybody thought about using email listener? Okay, 6, 11, yeah, we're getting it. Okay, I highly recommend it. We use email listener for each department. So we have a different email for each department, and all they have to do is ithelp@sonomamarintrain.org. And they send an email, and voila, we have a service request. Or facility@sonomamarintrain.org. Or track So everybody has that email list. We even have it for safety. And it's wonderful because now all those service requests come in and you know what needs to go on. It saves people time. And if you're in a meeting, they don't have to wait to talk to you. They just send that email in. Now you got your service request. You can process it as you tend to do, which is awesome. So don't forget to try to use email listener. It's a great feature of Maximo. But make sure, this is really, really, really important. You want to sustain the belief in Maximo. If you get all these requests and you never do anything about them, are people going to keep requesting? No, they're not. They're going to go, it's a black hole. Why even care? But if you get back to them and you make that change, now what's going to happen? What is that user going to do? Well, they can't complain about it anymore because they got to find something new to complain about. If they're the salty attitudes that we know, they will find something new to complain about. The nice thing is they have to admit that it's getting better because all these things have been changing along the way, and they tend to be less resistant as time goes on, and that's helpful because now new people that come on, they're not they're not getting that salty attitude as they come in and they're getting trained by these people that don't like technology. I like to call them that. For me, it's old people because I am old. I can say that. But anyway, so just remember that if you don't make these improvements, you're gonna run into people just not even caring anymore. And if they don't feel like the information in Maximo is good, as we were talking about with data scrubbing, if they don't feel like the information in there is good, they're not going to ask for reports. They're not going to ask for information out because it's just not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and go into the next thing, exploring practical tips. Did I just go through a bunch of these or did I skip over it? I don't know. This is the problem having more than one thing. Okay, so anyway, exploring practical tips for Okay. Anyway. So how do you explore the tips? Where are you going to get tips from? Give me one word answers. Where do you get tips from? Sorry? Oh, Maximo World. Oh gosh, why didn't I catch that one? Sorry, my hearing aids must have been turned down. Where else? Where else do you get tips from? Online user forums, yes, that's very good. Maximo user groups, right? What about your end users? You're going to get some tips from them, tips of what needs to happen. So what do you do when you get a tip you don't know? You take it to your service provider, right? If you have one. If you don't have a service provider, that's another great reason to go to the forum, right? You ask your question. How do you take care of this? How do you make it better? So do use your resources as best as you can. I found it. Okay. So reducing choice overload. What do you think I'm referring to on that? Too many options in fields to fill out, right? If you think about base Maximo, you get it out of the box, there's a lot of fields. How many of them do you usually use? Give me a percentage. How many of you guys think that you use 10% of the fields? Okay. Does anybody feel like they use more than 10% of the fields that come out of base Maximo? I'm not seeing a single hand. So why aren't we hiding those fields? Or at least dropping them down and putting the ones that we use up at the top, so when somebody goes into Maximo, everything that they need to fill out is right up at the top. That's a powerful way of helping people not dislike the system so much, because now they just go and fill out what they need, or it becomes a required field. That's another thing you can do is, oops, you didn't fill this field in, you need to fill it in. That's another way of getting that information, the data, to be a little more done. So definitely reduce them, and it'll help increase all of your other stuff, user satisfaction, all that stuff. So simplification, automation, less is more philosophy, and that's what I'm talking about with the data fields. Less is more. Reports. Who uses reports that are only out of the box? Only out of the box. I don't see a single hand. So everybody's got reports that are created for their business, right? Everybody's got something that is for what they do. How many of you guys have domains that you've changed and you have very specific drop downs for what you're doing? You do. Okay, I'm seeing some hands go up. That's good. That's very helpful. Autofill. This isn't something that we've talked about yet. Autofill. Who uses autofill? Okay. Are you using it based off of the user name? If they create a work order, is it putting in their supervisor and all that stuff? Or by location? So, by classification, so what type of work they do, and then some information. Consider basing it on the user. I had extra fields put in, supervisor and work group. So when the when a user logs in and creates a work order, on that creation, it adds in their department and their supervisor name. I mean, it's not going to change anytime soon unless they get a promotion, then I change it. So why not put some things in there and automate things? Everything that you can do that's going to be a repeatable thing, automate it. Because if you do, then that's less things that the user has to do. Makes life so much more simple. Configuration versus customization. Do you guys know what that is? The difference between that is? Does anybody not know what the difference is? Does anybody care? No. I'll just briefly say configuration is within Maximo. Customization is outside of Maximo. The power of configuration is when you upgrade, it goes with it. If you customize, it's an outside thing making changes. You got to make changes again. You got to figure it all out again. So it's a lot better if you can use the configuration within Maximo. That's one of the most powerful tools of Maximo. And one of the reasons why I love Maximo so much is because you don't have to redo everything every time you do an upgrade. Let's see if we got this. Enhancing job plans. We got 10 minutes. All right, so this is something that you ask questions about. We had some, for refining the job plans and estimates and accurate, we had a report that did actual versus estimated. Give me all of the job plans with this, give me all the work orders with how much time it took to do this job plan versus what the estimated is and what's the average of those, and we don't really spend 3 hours on it, we only spend 2, so maybe we need to drop that estimate down, and that helps. Or it's even better when it goes the other way, and I'll tell you why, because then people can justify having more people on their crew because now their estimates are needing to be pushed up because they actually are doing a lot more work. It does take more time. So it can be very helpful to you to help the supervisors justify more people on their crew if you help them do this, if you help them do the actual versus estimated. The other thing that's really important is streamlining job plans. Water agency, we had a whole bunch of job plans. We were doing individual job plans for similar places, but they were different enough that we had to have different job plans, right? When they were created and all the different tasks that were even similar were just in different orders. So we ended up putting them all out and going, okay, what's the best order of these steps? And we did that, and then we just inserted the extra steps that they had to do in certain sites. It made a difference for them because now when they went out to do the work, it was in the same order everywhere they went, except for the few extra steps that they had to do because it's a different location with a couple extra things, right? But it makes it easier for the worker in the field. And so you want to look at your job plans. You want to look at the similar things. You want to say, hey, how can we make this more intuitive so that the learning process is simplified, especially for new employees. And then job plan hiding places. This is my favorite. Where do you think job plans hide? One word answers if you can, and I'll repeat it. Where do job plans hide? Oh, come on. People's brains, right? Sticky notes, Excel spreadsheets, right? Now are you starting to think of where some of these job plans could be hiding? Right, where else would they hide? The old traditional 3x5 cards, right? Notepads. Where else? Got any ideas? Emails. Perfect. Emails, definitely. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to gather all those and you want to get them all into job plans and have them reoccurring where and when they need to. And that will also help eliminate inefficiencies, which, does the wonderful things that we love to do. I got to move forward because I don't want to be, oh gosh, seriously. All right, well, we need to hurry up through these. Is there anything up there that you guys want to talk about that you see that just kind of jumps out? I'll see if there's anything that jumps out to me. I'm going to let you read because it's faster for you to read than. All right, so learn to dream big, right? I got 5 minutes, so that's why I'm doing this really fast. Okay, so dream big and just start asking questions. We've talked about reducing the fields, adding necessary, emphasizing the needs. See, I've already covered all this. Okay. Discovering secrets. We did talk about stakeholders and talking with them, right? Promoting collaboration, so that's talking with everybody. Here's one thing I want to want to mention. When you talk to one person and say, how can I improve this process? And then you talk to the next person and say, well, I was talking to so-and-so and he said, and they'll either go, yay, that sounds great. Oh, but could you also, and then things kind of get going. And that's how you get people excited, because now, what's the one thing about, what do you get excited about? Do you get excited about something that already happened, or do you get excited about something that might be coming up that's going to improve your process? You're going to get excited about what's coming up, aren't you? So that's why you want to start talking with people and saying, hey, we were thinking about doing this. Is that going to be something that helps you? That gets people excited. That gets people motivated. Then they go, oh, send in IT help. No, you could add this to your process that you're talking about because it would really help me, right? So you get people excited, and then they start becoming what? They start taking ownership, don't they? Isn't that awesome? That's how you motivate people, is you start talking about something and they go, oh, no, wait, hold on. If he gets to have some word in, I want to also. So you just go through and you do that. It will shift perceptions doing that. We talked about asking questions, leveraging your consultants, and what you do want to do is talk a lot, because that does help out with the culture of continuous improvement. All right, focusing on one process at the time. Do you want to try to fix everything all at once? No, you can't fix everything all at once, can you? Right? I mean, you can't do all your projects at once, so prioritize it. And who do you prioritize it with? Huh? Stakeholders. Exactly. You say, I've got these 3 golden nuggets that I picked up at Maximo World. These are the things that we could do. Which ones do you think are most important? And I tell you flat out, I've had stakeholders say, we don't need that, we don't want to focus in on that one at all whatsoever. I'm like, dang, it was a really good idea. But we just haven't done it because it's just not something that needed to be done. Financially, it didn't make sense, so it didn't happen. But we did something that I was thinking, yeah, I'll just throw it in there and see. And it was their hotspot. So you just never know what the stakeholders are going to need or want. Working with the enthusiastic. Oh my gosh. Quick story. I have a new asset management inventory manager. He came in. He had never heard of Maximo. And I didn't have enough time to train him. When he first came in, I was on vacation, and there were a couple things that went on. So he got online, and he started seeing how powerful it was. He was learning things that I didn't know about Maximo, and he was enthusiastic, and we have gotten so much going with him, and he's the one that we're going to do mobility with, because he's like, I got to have it. I got to have mobility. So he's the one that is pushing the one thing that I've been wanting to do with them for the last 4 years, right? So work with the enthusiastic ones, because they're the ones that are going to make it happen. And then once he gets mobility, do you think maintenance is going to want it? Heck yeah, I really think so. So, and then the processes will be in place, and it'll be a lot easier. So make incremental improvements. I have a great, one more thing here, spotlight. Let's just go to this one because I know I'm out of time. Put it in the spotlight. That's one thing that went wrong at the water agency. They were trying to make Maximo, if you want to fix something, do it under the, don't show it off. Talk about it. Make it a spotlight. People will get excited if you do that. And encourage a proactive approach. And think global, act local, and start enhancing your processes today. Take action, be the change. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come and talk, because I think we're done.